The polished royal mirror showed a reflection that was not his own, cold, calculating. King Kale's face stared back at Daichi.
Mirror mask. It really worked. I am the king.
The chamber door groaned open. A valet stepped in, then halted, his breath catching.
Bring me the morning briefings.
The valet bowed stiffly, confusion flickering behind his formal mask, and retreated. Alone again, Daichi gripped the edge of the dresser. A tremor ran through his hands. He lifted his wrist. Golden digits flickered. 23 hours, 47 minutes. The mirror mask was absolute, but temporary.
23 hours and change. Ryo dared me to walk in here, but what now?
Less than a day to be the most powerful man in the empire, or to die trying. Daichi straightened the king's mantle. The briefing would arrive soon. He had to keep the mask on. 6 hours earlier, in a dim cellar beneath the Eastern Market, 4 thieves sat around a splintered table.
Listen, Daichi, you just woke up with some freaky face-stealing power. We gonna let that rot in a cellar?
It's not a toy. Mirror mask gives me 24 hours of someone else's face. Then my own comes back, if I am still breathing.
24 hours as the king. We'd never have to steal again. Walk in, order the treasury open, walk out rich.
You are insane. One wrong move, and it's the execution block. Daichi, this isn't a normal score.
That's exactly why it's the perfect dare. No one would ever suspect a street rat could pull off the king's face.
Daichi closed his eyes and focused. A cold ripple slid across his skin, the mirror mask activating. His jaw sharpened, his hair lightened to steel gray. The king's aquiline features settled over his own, like a porcelain mask.
Blazing skies. He actually did it. That's the king's face. Every cold line of it.
I am walking into the palace this afternoon. If I don't come back by dawn, don't wait for me.
Early afternoon, Daichi approached the palace's eastern gate. The sinking sun cast long shadows across the marble towers.
Open the gate. I am returning from a personal survey of the outer wards.
The guard froze, scanning the king's familiar cold features, then snapped to attention and pulled the iron lever. Inside the servant corridors, Daichi kept his stride unhurried, memorizing every turn. One wrong step could end him. He reached the royal wing. A palace soldier saluted. Daichi gave a curt nod and passed through the arched doorway. The king's private chamber was more opulent than he'd imagined. Gilded furniture, a massive bed, and an enormous polished mirror.
Half an hour burned just getting inside. The real tightrope starts now.
A soft knock at the main door froze him. The timer glowed. 23 hours, 49 minutes. The valet stepped in, bowing low. Daichi forced his features into the cold mask of a monarch and spoke with a king's voice. The servant paled and retreated, pulling the heavy door shut. Daichi listened until silence filled the chamber. Daichi slipped into the adjoining study. Scrolls and ledgers covered a vast oak desk. The air smelled of ink and old wax.
A king's private desk, too orderly, like someone else arranged it.
He rifled through routine trade reports. Then a drawer caught, locked. A king's own drawer, barred. He worked a thin pick from his hidden pocket. The lock clicked. Inside, a leather pouch and a metal disc etched with cryptic symbols.
A cipher key. This isn't a royal trinket. Someone's passing secret messages under the king's nose.
He glanced at his wrist. 22 hours, 34 minutes. The timer ticked down. Behind a false panel in the drawer, he found folded letters sealed with blue wax, a serpent emblem.
That seal. It's not imperial. These letters are encrypted, and the cipher is in my hand.
He spread the letters across the desk. The script was foreign, a cipher waiting to be broken. A chill crept up his spine.
This wasn't the dare. The king's neck deep in something I don't understand, and the mask won't protect me.
Daichi pressed the cipher disc against the first letter. The symbols began to align, a slow, cruel translation.
The key works. This isn't a merchant's code. It's military shorthand.
The eastern border fort will have its garrison halved by winter. The pass will be left unguarded.
He's handing them the kingdom. deliberately.
Supply routes for the Southern Army will be rerouted through the marsh. An accident will be arranged. Daichi's pulse hammered. Every line was a signature on a death warrant for the Empire. The timer flashed. 22 hours, 18 minutes. Too little time to undo a conspiracy.
If I show these to anyone, they'll ask how I found them. Then they'll see through the mask.
He folded the letters slowly, his fingers mechanical. The evidence burned against his palm. He was trapped inside the mask of the man orchestrating the kingdom's ruin. With no ally and no exit, a sharp knock splintered the silence. Not the valet's hesitant tap. This was the knock of an equal.
No time to hide. Stand like a king. Breathe like a king.
Brother, you missed the council briefing. The generals are whispering.
I had a headache. The morning briefings are on my desk. Let them whisper.
You've been absent-minded lately. 6 months ago, you would have executed a general for forgetting a report.
6 months. That's when the letters started. And his ring, the serpent seal. He's the one.
The ambassador from Valdria sends his thanks. Our continued cooperation is appreciated.
Kale swept from the room without waiting for a reply. The door clicked shut, and Daichi let out a breath he hadn't known he held.
Valdria. The enemy kingdom. The king isn't just a traitor. He's their puppet.
21 hours, 52 minutes. Daichi's fingers curled around the cipher disk in his pocket. He had to get this evidence out. Tonight, Daichi turned from the desk, his gaze catching an imperfection in the wall tapestry. A fold that didn't belong. He pulled the heavy fabric aside. Cold air curled from a hidden seam in the wall. A door, barely visible, designed to stay forgotten.
A servant passage. Or something worse. Either way, it's a way out that Kale might not expect.
A thin dagger slid between the stones and found a hidden catch. The door swung inward without a sound. Daichi lifted his wrist. The golden timer read 17 hours, 45 minutes. Each tick echoed in the silence.
Half the day gone. If Kale finds evidence that I was here, there's no mask that can save me.
He plucked a torch from the wall sconce and held it into the black stairwell. Stone steps spiraled down into nothing.
Whatever he's hiding down there might be the final piece, or it might be my grave.
He slid through the gap and pulled the door shut behind him, leaving the study dark and silent once more. The torch flame guttered, casting long, dancing shadows as Daichi descended into the unknown beneath the palace. The stairway ended in a low chamber, cluttered with crates and rotted sacks. The air was stale and cold. A dark jacket lay folded on a broken stool. Its cut was foreign, and a silver serpent was stitched over the heart. Daichi lifted the fabric. The serpent matched the wax seal on the treasonous letters, proof of Valdrian origin.
Not just a traitor. He's a replacement. The real king was removed 6 months ago. I am wearing the face of a foreign agent. The entire palace believes he's the legitimate crown.
The truth hit like a blade. The man on the throne was an imposter, and Daichi had stolen his face. He scrambled back up the stairs, his heart battering his ribs. The timer burned 15 hours, 48 minutes. In the study, the regal silence now felt fraudulent. Every book, every seal, belonged to a foreign puppet.
If the mask fails, I am executed. If I do nothing, the empire falls. There's no clean exit.
Daichi pressed the cipher disk to his chest and stared at the door, alone with a kingdom's weight and a stolen face. Daichi spread a stolen palace map on the desk, finger tracing a route from the study to the secluded north window.
Rio should be in the east alley by now. If he's on time, the signal mirror will catch his eye.
He scribbled a quick note, folded a copied letter inside, and placed them in a leather pouch. At the high north window, Daichi angled the mirror twice. Short, long, short, the old cruise signal. Below, in the shadowed alley, Rio's narrow face appeared, staring up. Daichi lowered the pouch on a thin cord. Rio caught it and vanished into the dark.
Encrypted letters. A double in the palace? He's not just playing king. He's in over his head.
Take it, Rio. Hide it. Don't let them catch you with those papers.
Rio looked up one last time and gave a short, sharp nod. the signal for done. Daichi pulled back from the window, the map still spread on the desk behind him, its thin lines now a lifeline. An hour later, Daichi walked into the cold marble throne room. Advisors clustered, and Kale lingered near the dais like a second shadow.
Captain Valen is here too. He watches everyone. He's not a puppet.
Our alliance with Valdria must be strengthened. I propose we cede the eastern watchtowers to their garrison command.
Ceded the watchtowers? That's the final nail. They'll have every border opened.
Brother, do you not agree? The Empire's safety relies on mutual trust.
Mutual trust. Yes. Proceed with the decree.
Daichi's voice did not waver, but beneath the golden mask his stomach twisted. Beside the throne, Captain Valen's jaw tightened. The council dispersed. Daichi swept past the marble columns, not trusting his mask if he stayed another second.
Valen noticed something. I have to drop the evidence at his door tonight. It's the only play.
Back in the study, Daichi checked the timer. 14 hours, 32 minutes. He gathered the original letters and the cipher disk. Tonight, the ghost informant would strike. Hours passed. The palace settled into night. Daichi sat rigid in the king's chamber, each distant bell a countdown. At the final bell before midnight, the timer burned 5 hours, 11 minutes. It was now or never. He slid into the hidden passage, the tapestry falling behind him. The stone walls breathed cold and silence. A tattered palace map guided him through forgotten service tunnels. Every step a gamble against creaking stone. At last he reached the captain's corridor. 2 torches guttered outside a heavy oaken door. No guards. He dropped low, heartbeat a thunderclap in his ears, and slid the thick envelope under the door.
Inside are the originals, the cipher, and a plain note. The king is a double. The proof is in his own hand.
He retreated, footsteps muffled. The envelope lay just inside, waiting for morning's light. Back in the king's study, Daichi leaned against the cold stone and exhaled. The mask held. The deed was done. 4 hours, 48 minutes remained. Valen would find the evidence at dawn. Daichi could only wait or run. Dawn light seeped under the captain's door, catching the edge of a thick envelope. Valen's hand closed over it. He tore the seal and pulled out a single scribbled note. His eyes swept the words.
The king is a double. The proof is in his own hand. This is madness.
He unfolded the encrypted letters. The serpent seal glinted coldly. His blood turned to ice. The cipher disk confirmed it. 6 months of sabotage, and the king was the author.
An imposter. All those decrees. Valdria's puppet sat on the throne and I saluted.
He summoned 2 sergeants, loyal men, tested in battle. The door was bolted, voices lowered to whispers. Valen spread the letters across the table, his voice low and trembling with contained rage.
The man on the throne is a Valdrian agent. We move tonight. He'll be in the study. Alone. We take him quietly.
The sergeants saluted and slipped away. Valen strapped on his sword. The Empire would be reclaimed by nightfall, or fall forever. 2 hours, 9 minutes. Daichi stared at the golden digits. The palace had become a cage. He slipped back into the hidden passage one last time, leaving the king's chambers behind. The passage emptied into a dusty servant corridor. No guards, but the silence felt wrong.
Get to the garden gate. The mask is solid for now, but every minute is borrowed.
A young palace guard rounded the corner and froze, eyes narrowing at the stranger in royal robes. The guard's hand went to his sword. You are not permitted here. Daichi bolted. Boots hammered stone behind him. Daichi threw himself around corners. The map burned in his memory.
The tapestry, the hidden door. Lose them in the dark.
He burst into the moonlit gardens, the golden mask flickering at his temples, over the wall and into the city streets. Free for now, in a dead-end alley behind the market. Daichi pressed his back against the cold brick and let the mask burn out. The king's face peeled away in a silent shimmer. Daichi's own sharp features returned, and with them, a fragile relief, a shadow detached from the wall. Rio's voice came low and urgent. "You are breathing. That's a start."
They're moving soldiers toward the palace gate. Valen's men. The streets aren't safe for anyone tonight.
Rio led Daichi up a rusted ladder to a rooftop with a clear view of the palace. The sun bled orange into the horizon.
I am not running. Not until I see who walks out of that palace.
You are insane. You know that? We should be 3 cities away by now.
I wore that man's face. I saw his orders. If the real king is still alive, he's under that palace.
Rio fell silent. Below, a column of torches snaked toward the palace gate. The hour of judgment was near. Daichi pulled his hood low, his hand resting on the pouch where the cipher disk had been. He watched, and he waited. The torches reached the palace gate, and the iron groaned open. From the rooftop, Daichi and Rio watched the soldiers pour inside. In the throne room, Kale turned as the great doors burst inward. Captain Valen stood in the torchlight, sword drawn.
You dare storm the king's chambers? I'll have every one of you executed.
By the authority of the Crown Guard, you are under arrest. The evidence you yourself kept condemns you.
Kale's hand flew to his side, but Valen's soldiers seized his arms before he could touch a weapon. The false king was hauled through the marble halls, his crown clattering to the stones. Palace servants pressed against the walls, pale with shock.
The man who wore the crown is an impostor, a Valdrian agent who replaced King Aldrich 6 months ago.
The crowd erupted, gasps, shouts. A woman wept. On the rooftop, Daichi's hand clenched on his knee. Kale stared up at Valen with venom, but no words came. The chains locked. The Empire had purged its serpent.
It's over. He's done. But Daichi, the real king, wasn't with them.
Valen seized Kale by the collar, voice low and relentless. "Where is the real king?"
You think I'll tell you? He's rotting, and soon the Empire will rot with him.
I have the letters. Your Valdrian masters will disown you. The cell, where?
Kale spat a curse, but the fight bled out of him. He nodded toward the study. Behind the tapestry, the passage leads to his cage. Torches lit the hidden stairwell Valen had never known. He led a handful of soldiers down into the cold. At the bottom, a heavy iron door. They heaved it open. A thin figure in chains raised his head.
Aldrich. 6 months. We failed you.
You came. The impostor. Is he?
Valen knelt and cut the chains with his sword. The real king sagged forward, too weak to stand.
Rest, my king. We'll carry you to the light. The Empire awaits.
As dawn broke, they emerged from the hidden passage into the palace gardens. The king's gaunt face lifted to the pale sky. The city erupted in cheers. Church bells rang. Daichi watched from the shadow of a chimney as the royal banner rose over the palace.
They're cheering for a ghost. Good.
Taro and Jax are waiting at the old cellar. We should go. They want to celebrate.
Number. I am done. Tell them.
Done? We pulled off the impossible. You are a legend.
I was a thief who wore a mask. I don't want to be that person anymore.
Rio's face fell, but he didn't argue. He clasped Daichi's arm once, hard, then turned and walked away. Daichi pulled his hood low and slipped into the thinning crowd. The old cellar would stay empty tonight.
The crew has their coin. I have something else to figure out.
He vanished into the morning bustle, a ghost who had saved an empire and asked nothing in return. Months later, a small shop opened 2 streets from the palace. Daichi's Noodles.
Finally. A key that doesn't need picking.
His hands, once quick with lockpicks, now stirred broth in a worn iron pot. He served the early market workers, their chatter filling the small room. Coin by coin, he built a different life.
No palace guards, no ciphers, just broth and noodles. Strange.
A royal carriage rolled past the shop window, the king's standard fluttering. Daichi looked up.
Aldrich. He's filling out the robes now. Good.
The carriage moved on, disappearing into the palace gates. Daichi turned back to his counter, the faint smile still there.
I wore a king's face once. Now I wear an apron. This is more honest.
And for the first time in a long while, that was enough. During a quiet afternoon lull, the shop door opened and a tall man in civilian gray stepped inside. Daichi's hands paused only a heartbeat. Captain Valen.
One bowl, something warm.
Daichi ladled broth with the same calm he'd learned behind a stolen face. His hands did not tremble.
He's thinner. That case, the ghost, it's eating him.
A ghost saved this kingdom. And I can't find a single solid lead.
He pulled a worn sketch from his coat, a vague hooded figure. Daichi saw it from the corner of his eye and said nothing. Daichi set the bowl down gently. The broth steamed, rich and ordinary.
Enjoy. It's a slow day. Let me know if you need more.
Valen ate, paid, and left without another word. The sketch vanished back into his coat.
He'll hunt forever, but he'll never look twice at a noodle vendor.
Days later, the shop bell jingled and a familiar face stepped in. Ryo, now in the stiff leathers of a caravan guard.
So, the best thief in the Empire sells broth now. Never thought I'd see it.
Sit down. First bowl is on the house.
They shared noodles in the quiet afternoon, the old shorthand of their friendship still alive.
Taro and Jax send their best. They're running the North caravans now. Honest work, if you can believe it.
Ryo didn't ask about the palace, the letters, or the mask. The questions hung in the air, but he let them stay there.
He knows some of it, but he's a good friend. He won't make me speak it.
You look lighter. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it.
They clasped hands at the door, old partners in a life that was now a memory. Then Ryo stepped into the bright street.
Goodbye, old friend. Come back for noodles. Leave the questions outside.
After the last customer left, Daichi wiped the counter one final time. The shop was his, and it was silent. He sat at a corner table and pulled a worn leather pouch from beneath his apron. A single gold imperial coin slipped out, its edges worn smooth. He'd kept it since that day.
The only thing I took from the palace, the only proof that I was ever there, Aldrich never knew my face. Valen hunts a ghost, and the kingdom still doesn't know my name. But I heard the bells that morning. I saw the crowd. That was real. That was enough.
He caught his reflection in the small wall mirror. No mask, no crown. Just a man who served noodles.
This face is enough. It's more honest than any mask I ever wore.
He tucked the coin back into the pouch and pulled the wooden shutter down, closing the shop to the night.
No regrets. Just noodles, and that's plenty.
Dawn light touched the quiet street. Daichi slid open the wooden shutter. A crisp parchment was nailed to the notice board outside the shop. He stepped out, apron still on, and scanned the royal proclamation. By order of the crown, Captain Valen is reassigned to Border Command. The ghost informant investigation is closed.
Cold case. Valen won't waste his life chasing a shadow anymore.
He turned back toward the shop, the parchment fluttering behind him. Inside, he lit the fire and set the broth to heat. The first customer would be here soon.
And I'll serve him noodles.
The camera pulled back. The street awakened, palace towers distant, the first rays of sun cresting the rooftops. In the city that never knew his name, Daichi opened his noodle shop, and the kingdom remained safe.